What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way. It is warm! Oh my god, it's so hot. Like, it just got so unseasonably warm so quick. I guess maybe not even unseasonably, but just like the temperature difference, right? Like, I did my laundry today, and albeit I put it off for quite a while, right? But like, there were still sweaters and flannels in that, and now I am full, like, thing longer than it needs to be ever for possibly the rest of the summer, because that's how my hometown works for some reason. That one day it's gonna be 60 degrees and the next day it's gonna be 80. I don't understand. What are we doing to our planet? Anyway, today we're going to be doing something that might actually be a little bit familiar, so not something different as I would usually say. Although it might be something different if you're new, which there are a lot of new people here, so hi. Probably already 2 years ago, knowing me, I did an experiment basically to see which animals would best hybridize into a dragon. This was kind of just an excuse to draw different weird animal hybrids. And I think I actually used this exact same website, but if you know anything about me, you know that I love random generators for anything, for prompts, okay? I like something that removes my need to executive function. Also, yeah, because it's warm, I have my fan running, and so if my background looks to be moving, that's because it is. That ceiling fan's on, and I can't really fix that, so we're just gonna deal with it. So yeah, today we're gonna jump in. I do a little different here. And we're going to be drawing some animals hybridized via a random generator. So yes, we have this random generator from, I guess, randomlist.com, which makes sense, right? And it allows us to generate, I put the quantity at 3, because beyond 3, I think we start getting in the territory where things get a little complicated. I mean, obviously, already, hybridization of certain traits is a pretty complicated, like, design experiment, but, like, I don't know, you look at a dragon, right, and it's, like, part some sort of mammalian feature, part some sort of reptilian feature, and then maybe, like, a secret third thing, you know? Like a bird. I draw a lot of my dragons kind of semi-bird-like, because they're descendants of dinosaurs and not necessarily lizards. So the idea basically being that, yeah, we're gonna hybridize 3 animals because 2 feels like too little. It would just be a hybrid of 2 animals. 4 seems like too much. 3 seems like a pretty good number, right? We like the number 3. So we're just gonna hop in and roll this a couple of times and see which combinations pop up and base our decisions off of that. Okay? Okay. Oryx, hare, and impala. That's kind of 2 very similar creatures, isn't it? You got basically the same thing. There's just 2 little... I don't know if I'd be able to combine those that much. A warthog, a mouse, and a reindeer. Interesting. Ooh. What? Would it be small or big? Or somewhere in between? I will write that down. Knowing me, I'm probably going to also be doing 3 hybrids. You know what? I'm just gonna screenshot this. I'm gonna save this. Okay, so we've got our first combination, and I might try and roll it a couple of times. Hartebeest, duckbill, platypus, and a yak. I've been thinking about doing some things with the platypus. I don't know, because, again, you get 2 very, like, you get 2 grassland creatures, and they sort of counteract this guy. Like, I don't really know the distinguishing features of this dude beyond, like, this dude. Like, I feel like you would get yak, because I'd probably make it furry or something, and then you wouldn't get hartebeest. You see the conundrum here? Ooh. Oh, but it's almost... Oh, it's almost the same, because it's a panther, and I don't... Porcupine, an eland, if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm seeing a lot of animals I don't immediately recognize. And a parrot. Okay, see, that is something that I feel like would turn into a very dragon-like hybrid very quickly. So I'm gonna grab that as well. 3 very woodland creatures. Again, 2 grazing animals. 3 technically if you count the rabbit, but at least the rabbit looks different. This is interesting. Because I don't know how I would do it. Elephant, yak, and snake. It could be very long. Ugh. I am going to... I'll save this. I'll keep going and see if there's anything else that really catches my fancy. Might be a challenge that I could be interested in. Again to dugong, crocodile, and doe. Why specifically a doe? What kind of doe? What are you? It looks like maybe a mule deer? I can't tell. Why do they just call you a doe? Specifically a lady deer. Weird. See, this seems just as confusing. I do love me some sea cows, but like... A rooster, a fox, and a ferret. I'm worried that these two would get confused. However, I feel like there are enough distinguishing features from each of these that this could be very interesting. These feel like kind of similar creatures almost. Like this could be like a this could be like a mythical sort of creature. You know what? I'm going to grab these and we are going to probably hop over to me doing a speed draw because this is probably going to take a minute. So I'd pop in and do the fun thing, and then pop out and do my fun thing. I will pick between these combinations that I have brought forth into the world and see what abominations I can create out of them. So that should be fun. And I mean that, and then in kind of a non-sarcastic way. I like making messed up things, like, and also kind of making them cute. You know? So, I'm interested. I'm very interested. So, I basically wound up going in order of the options that I picked out. So I started with the mouse, warthog, and reindeer cross. Obviously, I had some issues getting started. Warthogs have this, like, insanely weird head shape, right? So along with that iconic face, I kind of went for some antlers on top for the reindeer. The antlers wound up changing a lot throughout the sketch stage, so don't get too attached to them, even up until the line work. And now getting representation for each animal was obviously important here. I think I did okay with this first one, but it still kind of looks like a mishmash of parts almost thrown together. One thing that I did that I thought was fun was a little bit of separation on the tusks, kind of bringing like the deer antler concept down. I also changed the nose to be a bit more reindeer-like, and I put some mouse ears on top of that. She's quite mouse-heavy, actually. I just didn't want to lose that between the larger animal's features. I wound up naming her Flurry, sort of a combination of flurry like snow and fleur, the French word for flower. I wound up going back later to give her a cooler hybrid name too, or at least less than just the 4 animal names shortened and squished together. Flurry seems like some sort of like docile forest spirit that represents like the transition between winter and spring. She seems very fairy-like almost in this like nature guardian sort of way. And I still feel like she could totally mess you up though, of course. Now next up we had the porcupine, eland, and green parrot mix. I immediately knew that this would basically be a hippogriff. I changed around a bit of the mix because the picture on the website was kind of terrible anyway. Like, what is that angle? There's no way of telling what kind of antelope this creature is. So while I think the original was supposed to be a common eland, this one is actually more like a giant eland antelope. They both have these kind of wild curly horns at the top that are super cool, and again, not at all visible in that original picture. But the giant variety has this big old skin flap on their neck, and kind of like a dip down, that they're just bigger, they're bigger in proportions. And of course getting the porcupine in the cross was admittedly a little bit of an afterthought. I wound up making the ears and the tail porcupine, along with quills just kind of all up and down the wings. Now, in mythology, the hippogriff is a more tame, like, further crossbreed of a griffin and a horse, and it's ridden by warriors. So, like, imagine either seeing or getting to ride this guy. Either way, it's a very intimidating situation going on. He has built-in weapons. I wound up naming him Cole because I used the eye from the eland antelope, and it kind of looked like the eye makeup Cole. Also went for, I called him a hipparalope for the hybrid name. It's sort of a mix of hippogriff and antelope, and porcupine is kind of hidden letters already provided. Maybe I should have added a Q somewhere. Hipparalopupine. Cole is definitely more of a hardcore warrior type with a intelligence to him. Perhaps a little bit more unwilling to please than the standard hippogriff. As some might say, prickly? Then, of course, we had the elephant, yak, and the snake. Now, we're not really doing dragons today, kind of leaned away from that, but if we were, I would say that this has the most potential to take the title, if only as like a lone dragon. I got the classic long body, and then at the front I put the elephant head and a pair of the yak horns. I considered leaving this legless, but I added them in relatively last minute in the sketch, which was helpful to have the fur hanging down. A lot of the references I saw had yaks with this sort of like top cut fur, and their telltale fuzziness was kind of accenting their legs. So without the horns, I think maybe you could argue this creature is just some sort of really weird mammoth, but I think that's endearing. Something in me said her name was Nellie. I called her Yesalank, so let's break this down. Y from yak, E from elephant, S from snake, S I think was just for another vowel for some reason. A and N could come from snake or elephant, and the A could come from yak, and the K ending also comes from yak. Yesalink. I also think that this is where I went back and changed Flurry's hybrid name to the final version, Karamog, which is a combination between caribou and hog with the M for mouse. Everybody else was getting the cool names, so I figured at least I should try and do something a little bit better with that combination. Nellie, I think in my brain, has to just be like the sweetest little helper. Maybe she rescues people from the cold, lets whole parties ride on her back. I imagine that she is just massive. Like, I'm talking like the size of an elephant just stretched out to all like infinity. Like, imagine this giant mountain spirit like pummeling down the snow toward you, but it's like this sweet, gentle little elephant that's also a part pack animal. So it's like, yeah, go ahead, ride on my back. That would be awesome. Now, instead of leaving out that last combination that I saw with the box, rooster, and ferret, I decided to break my tradition of threes. We have a full 4 corners because I couldn't decide whether or not I wanted to challenge myself or leave myself with this, what I thought would be easier combination. And now it wound up kind of being like a bonus drawing, really, so it was a little bit less thought out than the other ones overall, but I kind of love it. The overall vibe instantly gave me like sassy mythical corgi because I went for the ferret body and the fox head. The real fun came from the rooster side. I made sure this boy was saturated. Now, there is a dog griffin in standing mythology. In Persia, there's a flying dog mythological creature called the, I'm probably going to pronounce this terribly, the Camrosh. Chamrosh. And it is, at its core, a flying puppy. I known this well before any of this, by the way, because of course I did, and now I get to use this information. Now, of course, a fox, I feel like, could technically count in terms of the canids that could allude to the Camrosh, and obviously the bird adds to the flying variety of it. So I did that, and I combined it with mustelid, which is what a ferret is, and so I called him a mustelrosh. The name that I wound up giving him as a character, I'm not too happy with it. I just kind of decided to call him Zen, which is ironic because he looks almost like the complete opposite of it. Zen is definitely up to some trouble, but maybe also a little protective and loyal to those he deems worthy. Sort of like almost like a lot of like Japanese yokai. They definitely have their own autonomy and their own thing going on. But maybe he can stretch out like really long and just look absolutely terrifying in some circumstances, but he prefers to be this little tiny compact creature. Overall, I do like these designs. I definitely see where I started to really warm up and get more comfortable in designing characters, but I do think that they're all cool in their own ways. It was especially fun imagining what kind of personalities that they had afterward, kind of, you know, like giving an idea of where maybe they came from in terms of like them being actual hybridized, maybe possibly mythological creatures. Obviously they come from all corners of the world, so it's a little impossible, but you know, it's still fun to think about. So, thanks for joining me as I created these interesting little abominations. Which one was your favorite? Let me know, along with any other art challengey sort of ideas you have. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to help me figure out what I'm going to do for my first milestone. It's 50, by the way. Otherwise, I will see y'all next time.